Good morning, Journey Mates. Welcome to Jay's Journey. It's Sunday morning, January 5th, 2020. We're 5 days into a new decade. Awesome. I made some great percolated coffee. I addressed percolated coffee in my previous video. And I'm doing this particular video today, or this vlog, is really kind of a non-technical, because I don't have it all figured out yet, review of some software that's free on the internet called Musescore. And the background story for this is I was talking with my daughter Cheyenne. She's been home on vacation from high school, and she's very active in the music program. She plays in the jazz band, the concert band, the marching band, the winter percussion ensemble. Very active, and as well as being active in soccer and sports. We were talking about how I used to compose things in high school, arrange for the jazz ensemble. I did that in college, and I was banging around on the piano. And actually, in the previous video, when I was demonstrating my new Williams electric piano in the studio downstairs, I kind of banged through these chords that it's kind of like a go-to lick. Everybody, a lot of musicians, when they pick up an instrument, have a go-to lick. You know, something that you tune the guitar and then you kind of run through it to make sure the guitar's in tune and limber up your fingers or whatever. I have one of those. I have several of them. They evolve over time, and sometimes there's more than one go-to. It might be a song that you play all the time, or in this case on the piano, one of my go-to licks has been this chord progression, kind of a gospely, bluesy 6/8 time chord progression that I kind of bang out every time I sit down at a piano to kind of warm up. I was playing it the other day or whatever, and we were talking about this composing, and I said, you know, it's pretty cool if I could work this into a piece and you could play it with your jazz band at school. And I said, but the teacher probably would never do that. And she said, well, when I'm a senior, I get to choose the piece that every senior that's in the band gets to choose a piece during a concert that they want to perform. And I was like, really? That sounds like, oh, God, that's too great. So I started researching. Well, first, the old way I used to do it was I would write everything out by hand, transcribe it by hand, and get the staff paper, and start with the transpose all the instruments myself. I usually start with a piano score, write that out, and then I build off of that. I started thinking, boy, in this day and age, they got to have something that I can do on like a software program where we can write it in there. Maybe it'll make things easier and it'll be professional looking when we print it, things like that. There was two that in my research that were like the number one for composers, and that was Syllabus and Finale, I think, was the two. Very expensive. I think the Syllabus one I saw prices from $200 to $500 for the software. I think it depended on what version you got and everything. Same with the Finale. And then I watched a bunch of YouTube videos with people talking about all the different composing software. And this one called Musescore came up and seemed to be the free software that was the highest rated and that most composers liked. So I figured I'd give it a shot. So I downloaded it, and oh my God, it was awesome. I mean, it's a big learning curve. There's a lot to learn as far as the functionality and the things you can do with it, but the possibilities are pretty unlimited, and I'm just amazed it's free. So I downloaded that. I worked for like 3 days. I became obsessed with learning it. It was just so much fun. It actually has a synthesized sounds in it. So when you write out an instrument, you write out the part, it plays it back, simulating that instrument, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's nowhere near the real deal, but it's enough to give you an idea what it's going to sound like. So that was a feature that just really enticed me to get something done and work on it and learn it. And I spent like 3 days, probably like 28 hours, almost 30 hours. I mean, I have barely slept. I was working on that. I was working on other things too. Then every break I got, I'd go back to it and try to write it out. And Shai sat down a bunch of times with me and corrected the drum parts, the kit parts for the drums, which you can write everything out, and the bass lines and things like that she felt would work better. And she made suggestions about the arrangement, and we worked on it together. Well, stupid me, when I opened up the program, it initially goes to an untitled score page, and it's a tab. It looks like a browser, and it's got a tab on it. And I told the computer when I opened it, I said, I want to make a new score. So there's the tab that it automatically goes to, says untitled, and it's just a piece of sheet, like a staff paper. And then there's the one that I set up for a big jazz combo ensemble. What happened was, after we were working on it, I wanted to close the program for a while, work on something else on my computer or whatever. In so doing, when I had been saving it all along in a file, when I went to close it, a dialog box came up and it said, do you want to save this? It said untitled, do you want to save it? And I was like, well, sure, I want to save it. I just saved it. And so I clicked yes, and it went to a folder, and it had untitled in there. Stupid me, I typed in Shai's Blues, which is the working title for the piece. And it said, do you want to overwrite Shai's Blues? I don't know why. I was tired or something. I should have known better than that. Everybody knows you don't overwrite a file unless you know what you're doing. And I just said, yeah, well, sure. I saved it, so yeah, overwrite it. Well, after I did it, it was probably a couple hours after I did it. You know, so how things like work through your mind afterwards. I was like, oh man, I think I overwrote that Shai's Blues. So when I got the next opportunity, I came up and tried to open the file, and all it was that blank page, the first blank page. Everything was gone because stupid me. So I went through recycle bins trying to find it. I don't know. It was gone. So maybe not. I just didn't know how to find it. I, with dogged determination, started all over from scratch again, trying to remember as much as we could to do it. And that's what I'm going to show you is the little bit about the program and how far I've gotten. I'm not quite finished with the piece yet, but you'll get a good idea of how this program goes. Now, because of this little delay thing and this obsession I had with doing this, I'm sorry, my eye's itchy. Because of this little delay and my obsession with doing this, my content for my Saturday video, originally I had planned to put this as part of the content in there. Didn't get uploaded till late on Saturday instead of early. So it did get loaded on Saturday. I am determined that I'm going to do a weekly episode, or maybe bi-weekly episodes or two. This will be another episode this week in my YouTube channel. The thing is sometimes I don't want the content to suffer just for the quality to suffer just for the quantity. You know, trying to make sure I get these out every week. Like I said, I'm going to try every week to come up with something that's relevant to somebody out there. For musicians, if I was a student, this would be software that I would be definitely playing with and using. Make your life so much easier than the old days. Well, when we used to scratch on rocks. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go through this and play this piece for you and show you how it works. Okay, so this is the Musescore program that I'm using to arrange Shai's Blues, is the working title of this piece. I just wanted to show you this program, kind of how it works, and it's pretty cool. It's free software. You can download it. Anybody can download it. You can put in what instrumentation you want. It's got some templates set up for big band, orchestra, you know, small combo. If you just want to do guitar chords, a tab, just music that way, or guitar symbols, like chord symbols, I believe, too, chord letters, whatever text. You can use it for that. It will actually play the notes written, and it has synthesized sounds in it for each different instrument. So I don't know if you can read that up there. That says alto sax where my cursor is. Tenor, bari, trumpet 1, 2, 3, trombone 1 and 2, guitar, and I based my instrumentation off of what we felt might be available in my daughter's jazz band next year, or this year too, we don't know yet. And that's how this program works, and now of course you can write that in there. Now I'll go ahead and just play it a little bit here. So it's got a play button up here. That rewinds it all the way to the beginning. Shows you the first note, and then you hit play. I love this free software. It's been really cool to use. It's a big learning curve to learn how to use it, but it has online tutorials to go with it. It has a handbook you can download. So I mean, you can get educated on all of the features of this. I've barely scratched the surface. So let's go back to the beginning. We'll try this again. There we go. This is so cool. I don't know why it's doing that, but well, anyway, I'm going to stop it there. You get the idea of how it allows you to, write it and then hear it back. Usually it doesn't do that little digital thing in there, stopping. I might have something running in the background. It's chewing up a lot of memory right now, and it's having a hard time coping with it. I was so impressed with this software. It was free, downloaded it, took a minute, but it took me several days to actually learn how to use it. And then, of course, when I lost it, when I inadvertently deleted and overwrote it with a blank page, I was frustrated because I had already had about 3 days into it. But I was able to remember everything that I had written down for it. Cheyenne has still got to work on the drum parts, the bass parts, and give me any other suggestions. One of the things I noticed, let's go back here to show you something. So, for example, here, right here. So this is a long phrase right here for wind players. There's like no breath until you get to here. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to put a breath in right here. So how I do that is I click. You can hear the notes when you click on it. It tells you the notes. And it transposes everything for the B flat and the E flat instruments. For example, the trumpets are all B flat, bari's E flat, alto's an E flat transposed instrument. And what that means for non-music theory people or orchestra people is that when you see things down here in the piano score written in concert, or here's a trombone lick written in concert, okay? Well, when I write it in the bari sax column, I have to transpose it either a major sixth above or a minor third below in order for it to be the same notes. On the B flat trumpets, you have to do a step above, one whole step up to transpose it. For those instruments, there's a F horn too, French horn. I don't have it in here, but that again is a transposed instrument to the key of F normally. So when a trumpet wants to play a B flat, you have to write a C for them. a bari or an alto, when they have a B flat, you have to write an E flat. No, that's not right. It's not an E flat. I'm sorry. It gets confusing sometimes. But anyway, what this does, which is kind of cool, when you copy and paste a line, like if I take this line, I can, for example, you can copy it. You click on that, or click on that note, all right? And then you go over here and you click on this here to get these 3 bars, let's say. Well, it highlights that. Now I can copy that. See, copy, and then I can move it somewhere and paste it too. And when I paste it onto another line, it actually automatically transposes it into the correct octave. And sometimes you have to say, there's a feature to highlight it and move the whole phrase up an octave too as well. And you can transpose them by intervals, seconds, thirds, whatever the interval, you can transpose everything. Probably can transpose the whole piece, which I may have to do for the band. This is in G. It's a hard key for, well, it's not real easy for the horn players. There's a lot of accidentals in this anyway because of the chord changes. But I think the key at F might make things a little easier on the kids, because we are working with students here. So one thing I notice here, da 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 da. See all of these in here. These are long breaks without, let me change this. So long breaks without taking a breath. So we can click on this, let's say, and I just want to take away the dot so they can get a breath in there. See that? Just added a rest so they can get a breath. Now let's see what that sounds like with that line. It's coming out of the little sax solo section here, and we'll play it. See, I gave him a breath there. So it's so they get that breath. They get that breath in there. So it's in 6/8 time. Awesome, awesome program to be able to do this and write this out, and then you can print it. And here's, I did print one page. Kind of how that page looks with the printing on it. Oh, you can see it under the light here. Anyway, that's too bright. But yeah, so it's printed out. Then you can print out all the parts too, so you can hand out individual parts or whatever. So it's pretty awesome. Plus they have a bunch of songs pre-transcribed in there. I haven't even explored that option yet. I've really only scratched the surface with this program that is completely free online. So if you're a music student in college trying to compose things and you want to know what, I wish I had this tool when I used to do this in high school and in college, and we had to hand write all this stuff. I had to hand write all the parts. I had to go and photocopy the parts for the different horn players after I had to hand transpose everything and hand write it. So it's a time-saving tool, and it gives my daughter an opportunity to work with me on this. To sit down, and she can change the drum parts because she's a drummer and a bass player. She plays both in the jazz band. So she can change those parts knowing what would be good for her to play or the kids to play to go with it. She can suggest things in the melodies and the chord structure. You can move the chord structure around, you can move the notes around, hear how different textures work together, different instruments. They're synthesized instruments, they're kind of hokey, they're not realistic in a lot of ways, and it's hard to get a swing feel out of it. There is a quantized function in there where you can swing it. I haven't quite figured it out. I was playing with it a little bit. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference. Mainly I did it in 6/8 because it's kind of got that 6/8 shuffle swing feel to it. Can't say enough good about this. I've had a lot of people online poo-poo it. There's, what is the two big ones? Is Syllabus, I think, and Finale are the two biggest ones. They cost a lot of money. I called Guitar Center the other day and asked what the price for Syllabus, I think it's called, or Syllabus. I asked them what the price would be, and they said it was about $500. And this was completely free. I don't know if it's as good, probably not. Probably doesn't have all the features that has, but this is pretty cool. It was designed by a German guy. It's not real pretty, but it's functional, and once you learn all the different buttons and the shortcuts. It has a lot of keyed in shortcuts you can learn. You can change, add accidentals. I haven't put any markings in yet as far as dynamics go. So all of that kind of stuff can be added to the score. It's cool. Anyway, that's how I wanted to share this with you. Share this with you this morning, that I've been working on this. As I spoke earlier, I completely lost everything, like 3 days worth of work, and really goofed up my schedule. So Musescore, awesome free program for writing music. And that's it. So thanks for joining me this little segment here this week. Thanks for putting up with my review of Musescore. I give it a 2 thumbs up. It's free. I can't believe it's free. And I'm going to do some more of this kind of stuff, and I'll keep sharing these things as we go along. Have a great week. Welcome to the new decade.